The most important thing music lends to a game is the emotional part. And this is something music does better than any other thing.
Sound is 50% of the experience. You can play a game without sound, but sound will convey the emotions that we have written and planned for. It connects the unconnected.
The Son of Arrakis. Welcome, j'espère que vous allez bien. Bonjour, on se retrouve pour une retransmission. Il va y avoir un live. Hâte de le voir. On va regarder ça ensemble vite fait.
It's been in my mind since the very beginning that we have to try and record this at air. The sound of the hall is, in my mind, it's the best place in the world to record. And also the sense of scale that it lends to a production like this is exactly what we need. It gives us this huge sound that we cannot achieve anywhere else. The other thing that is equally important is the level of the musicians here. It's a level of perfection that you don't really encounter very much.
Being there and hearing the songs, been a fantastic experience. We're looking forward to get all this great music into the game.
When Arild first approached me with this project, he said it was Dune, and I got very inspired to work. I could see so many things that we could do with the music. It is always a bit of a challenge to work on something that other people have worked on before you. Hans Zimmer's score from the films is spectacular music, and you have to take that into consideration when you're working on the same IP.
Knut is particularly interesting. He has great anthemic songs, and it was natural for me to get in touch with him when we started this project. So we experimented quite a bit in the beginning. The Dune books, there is fantastic lore. It's an established universe in every way.
C'est incroyable. Le son, c'est une dinguerie qu'ils ont fait.
There's no gunpowder in the world. It's not the typical digital sci-fi slick soundscape you're used to in many games.
In the game, you can be anyone you like, you can belong to any faction. So there are very few areas and situations in the game that are purely Atreides, purely Harkonnen, purely Fremen. So you have to approach it in a different way.
Knut is a classical composer. He composes for orchestra, but we started out experimenting with synthesizers, and that was a really fun exercise to see what he would come up with. We definitely wanted these heavy synths, broken up brass and huge arcing strings. Arrakis is just a huge open landscape, ice cold at night, burning hot at day. You're alone as a player, and we really needed the music to fit and work with the landscapes. We came up with pillars for what we want to achieve. One of the pillars we wanted to use was flow, which means how sound needs to flow over time, not be too intrusive. The next pillar was information. Information is very important to players, and sound plays a big part of that. And the last pillar is evocation. We want to evoke feelings with our sound design.
From the very beginning, we decided that the music should be written in D. D because it's a very practical to write in, with everything recorded in the same tempo, in the same key. We have different parts, we have different layers. Suddenly, we have endless possibilities for variation.
The deliveries from Knut are delivered in stems, which are interchangeable and layered, so we can play around with it and adapt naturally to any situation. What we might start with is ambient music, supporting the normal game scenario, a player walking around, maybe building, doing survival gameplay, just beautiful music to support the visuals. Then suddenly a war might appear, or you might be attacked by a terrible scavenger. We need the music to change fast. We have a traditional adaptive music system where we use horizontal layering and vertical layering to do that.
Attends. C'est moi ou...
This project I've been able to...
Ils ont accéléré le rythme de combat. Je viens de voir là par rapport à... Je vais faire des petites pauses les gars, de toute façon on va le regarder. Mais là le rythme de combat au couteau il a été accéléré par rapport à ce qu'on a pu voir précédemment sur les tests qui ont été réalisés par certains studios. Parce que on peut voir que là c'est ultra dynamique et là bam il enfonce la lame et boum c'est direct. C'est même pas quelques secondes. Allez ça s'est passé 2 secondes. Alors que de base, c'était un... Quand ils en parlaient dans des tests qu'ils ont fait, là, les vidéos, c'était réellement beaucoup plus lent, tu vois. J'ai l'impression qu'ils ont accéléré le rythme de fight. Par contre, les musiques, elles sont incroyables. Je m'en fous de la DMCA, réellement...
The singer in this track, she represents Mother Arrakis, the voice of Arrakis. She's the voice of the desert. It doesn't become music before you put a human in there. And that human makes it music.
Waouh, j'en ai des frissons.
You meet a performer that can really elevate your music and your intentions. You just feel in awe. It's like a religious experience. It's just there. You cannot really imagine how you could write it down because you can't. You cannot write this down. You rely on someone that can actually bring it to life. We are extremely happy that we were able to do this here and with these people. The musicians are such a high level that you cannot really get that anywhere else. It's been an amazing experience and it's elevating our game to a different level.
In terms of iconic sounds, we try to do what we think is right, and you never know what will become iconic. It could be a small sound, it could be a UI sound reminding you of a sandstorm approaching. There's the worms, which are maybe the most iconic part of the books. It's been very interesting to work with these worms and try to come up with our own soundscape for them. In the books, they are described, I mean, sound-wise, as just hiss of sand. What you will hear when the worm approaches is you might hear your vehicle shaking.
Les sons sont ultra bien faits.
Sandworms are divine environmental creatures, not monsters. They will breach through the ground and make huge, breathy screams, but still we try not to make them too monster-like. Sound is increasingly important in this type of games, and in general today I think it's more respected than ever. You have the technical aspects where sound need to convey information. Sound design can tell you what's inside a box, what's the technology behind this. We want players to be able to close their eyes and just listen to the soundscape and the wind and what's going on to understand where they are, whether it's in Sheol, which is in a radioactive area, the Red Desert, it's known as Vermilius Gap, or the opening area, Hagabas in south. It's truly wonderful to work with sound and have a great team to work with, and such an amazing IP as Dune to explore.
The most important function of music in visual media is to lend emotion to the visuals. And this is something music does better than any other thing. Another very important function of the music is to create a sense of time and space. What it does for the game is that it helps transport the player into a new universe, to a strange new world, to the world of Dune, to Arrakis.
Ouais. En tout cas, la musique, elle est incroyable. La démo qu'ils ont présentée, là, les explications, tout, elles sont incroyables, les frérots. Franchement, j'ai hâte de tester, même si je me fais strike DMCA mes vidéos. Je vous cache pas que c'est pas le truc qui va me déranger. Hein. Vraiment, quand tu vois l'impact sonore que ça peut avoir sur le gameplay, c'est juste incroyable. Bon, rentrons dans le vif du sujet, parce que ça y est, ça va pas tarder à commencer. De base, il y a la retransmission qui va start, là. Donc on va aller voir ça. Par contre, avant toute chose, j'aimerais vous parler d'un truc. Pour ceux qui veulent participer, il y a un giveaway qui est affiché. Donc n'hésitez pas à y participer. Potentiellement, ça sera dans 25 jours, je crois, le tirage au sort. Donc n'hésitez pas à y participer. C'est pour officialiser le partenariat avec Instant Gaming. Et en parallèle, dès que le jeu sera disponible sur Instant Gaming, bah, vous pourrez passer par mon lien pour ceux qui veulent faire l'acquisition. Donc n'hésitez pas, ça fera soutenir la chaîne, ça soutiendra la chaîne. Et pour ceux qui le souhaitent, on a commencé à recruter dans la guilde. Donc n'hésitez pas à nous rejoindre sur le Discord, qui est sur la chaîne YouTube. D'accord? Donc vous aurez toutes les indications. Ok? Et voilà, comme ça va se faire. Le recrutement est ouvert. On a déjà... Il y a des gens qui n'ont pas fait leur fiche de recrutement, mais on est à peu près déjà, si je compte, on est 7, 8. 8 déjà, c'est déjà bien pour commencer. Et en plus de ça, on est en discussion avec d'autres alliances pour faire des trucs en commun avec les francophones. Voilà. Pour ceux qui sont intéressés. Ensuite... Il vient, ok. Ensuite, qu'est-ce qu'on va pouvoir discuter? On va discuter de ce qui va arriver là. Donc normalement, il est censé avoir une retransmission en direct qui est là. Et c'est parti, on va aller check ça ensemble. Ready go. Dans 7 minutes, donc on va fermer le chat. Hop, on laisse pas le chat ouvert. Bon, de préférence. Et on va se regarder ça ensemble. Donc on va avoir du gameplay, on va avoir des informations, les prix des packs ont été officialisés, ça y est. Donc on a le prix des packs qu'on peut aller voir vite fait en attendant que ça se lance dans 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Voilà, les prix ont été faits, donc pour ceux qui veulent l'acheter, vous pouvez soit patienter que Instant Gaming mette à disposition, ça sera fait prochainement je pense, sur la plateforme. Comme ça vous le paierez moins cher, d'accord. Vous pourrez le précommander avec un accès, donc pas... anticipé, mais un accès en avant-première, parce que le jeu est fini. Voilà, il n'y aura pas de test, des trucs comme ça. Et ça sera accompagné d'un Season Pass pour la version Ultimate et la version Deluxe. Donc on peut voir les prix ici sur Steam. Je pense qu'on va être aux alentours de 70 € sur Instant Gaming. Donc vous ferez une économie de 20 € et en plus ça soutiendra le partenariat avec Instant Gaming. Donc concernant ceci, on peut aussi dire que dans le pack, qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Quelles sont les choses qui ont été mises dans ces packs de précommande? Donc ici on peut voir, pour la version standard, le starter se fera à compter du 20 mai. D'accord? Et pour les gens qui prendront une édition Deluxe et Ultimate, vous pourrez accéder au jeu à partir du 15 mai. Et moi, c'est ce que je vais faire. Donc moi, je vais prendre une ultime édition Ultimate. Hein, je vais me la prendre. Je vais soutenir le studio à fond. Surtout qu'il y a un artbook. Il y a la bande originale numérique. Il y a les skins de Omnioptère qui est assez incroyable que j'ai vu. Voilà, moi, je vais soutenir la création du jeu. Parce que je suis depuis très longtemps. Je l'attends depuis très longtemps. Comme je vous ai dit, ça va être une des plaques tournantes de ma chaîne YouTube. Je pense réellement, ce sera une finalité. On changera plus de jeu derrière. On fera que du Dune pendant très très longtemps et voir si un jour on fait un autre contenu, ça sera pas avant quelques années. Concernant donc aussi une chose qui est importante à dire, c'est qu'il n'y aura pas d'abonnement. D'accord? Donc, il n'y aura pas d'abonnement. Ça sera un Season Pass, d'accord, qui a été officialisé par les devs. Ils nous en ont parlé dans la vidéo qui est sortie hier. Donc, on aura vraiment un système avec des DLC. Donc, si vous prenez le pack Deluxe, vous aurez les DLC inclus dans l'Ultimate aussi. Ok? Et plus le pass saisonnier qu'il faudra renouveler, je pense, dans la continuité des saisons qui vont faire leur apparition sur le jeu. Donc, réellement, je suis content. Parce que les abonnements, c'est pas un truc que je suis fan, mais réellement, soutenir avec un pass saisonnier, voir ce qu'ils vont nous donner, on sait pas réellement ce qui va être inclus dedans. Dans le pack Deluxe, il y a cette combinaison qui est incroyable, moi j'aime bien, c'est pas celle que je préfère, parce que je vais prendre le pack Ultimate, je préférerais l'autre, et ce petit... terrarium de Mundib, de la petite bête de sable. Et ici, on peut voir le contenu avec un décor de la version de Dune de 2021, je crois, si je dis pas de bêtises. Et ensuite, les deux combinaisons ici, donc distilles de Dune, le film de 2021, et l'armure de Bator qui est aussi dans le pack aussi. Mais l'artbook, moi, je le présenterai sur une vidéo quand j'aurai pris le pack sur Instant Gaming, quand il sera disponible, bien sûr. Voilà, concernant ceci, on retourne dessus, 3 minutes 48 à attendre. Réellement, j'ai hâte de voir ça. On va voir ce qu'ils vont nous proposer. Encore une fois, je suis vraiment hype de fou. Pour information, moi, comme je vais commencer le 15 mai, je serai en live sur YouTube uniquement, potentiellement, peut-être Twitch, mais je suis pas sûr encore. Pourquoi? Parce que je vais vous proposer du contenu directement sur la chaîne. On sera en vocal avec mon frère et d'autres personnes de la guilde. On sera en commun. Voilà, on essaiera de faire un truc quand même assez stylé. Vous proposer plein de choses. Vous montrer des choses qu'on va découvrir aussi, parce que nous, ça va être une pure découverte. Sachant que je n'ai pas fait les bêtas, je n'ai pas été pris dans le lot. Par contre, je serai là le 15 au starter, le 16 je serai là, et le 17 et le 18 je ne suis pas là. Je suis en mariage, donc je reviendrai le 18 au soir, donc on enchaînera le 18 au soir, 19, 20, on fera des lives tous les jours je pense. Et en même temps, je vous préparerai les vidéos potentiellement avec des trucs qu'on va faire en commun avec d'autres youtubeurs. Voilà, si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à les poser dans la section du chat, ça serait incroyable. Moi, j'ai hâte que le jeu arrive. Et franchement, je pense qu'il y en a beaucoup, on est tous dans ce même cas. La patience, là, ça commence à être long. L'attente se fait longue, mais plus c'est long, comme on dit certains, plus c'est bon. Mais bon, on verra bien. On verra bien. Il y a des gens qui sont sceptiques, qui disent « Ouais, ça commence déjà à fuser. Hein. Les précommandes, le jeu, ça va être un... » Si vous êtes dans ce cas-là, c'est pas grave. Hein. Chacun est libre de dire son opinion réellement. Moi, je pense qu'on tient une petite pépite. À voir comment ça va être mis. Parce qu'on a vu un sacré downgrade de la part de... entre les premiers teasers de trailer et l'aspect du jeu. Mais c'est pour optimiser les configs, je pense. Le DLSS 4 qui va faire son apparition. Et ça, je pense que ça va être un des premiers jeux, si je dis pas de bêtises, qu'il a dit, où on aura l'implémentation vraiment du DLSS 4.0 avec les RTX 5000. Donc j'ai hâte de voir ça. On verra bien ce que ça donne quand le jeu arrivera. Et moi, je vous cache pas que je suis... Là, je suis chaud bouillant. Là, j'attends juste que le jeu arrive pour lancer tout ça. Parce que c'est vrai que ça fait un petit moment que j'ai pas trouvé vraiment de plaisir. Après, je fais des jeux à côté. Mais j'attends un MMO qui me relance. Parce que j'adore les MMO. Et surtout l'aspect survie de Dune. Et en plus, comme c'est Funcom, avec les jeux qui nous ont pondu, que ce soit Conan ou Dune Species sur lequel je joue, ou des jeux comme ça, réellement, c'est un régal. Moi, je fais les choses par passion avant tout, comme je vous l'ai dit. Et l'univers, moi, je le suis depuis très longtemps. J'ai grandi avec l'univers, hein. On verra bien ce que ça donne. Voilou. Donc n'oubliez pas, dès que mon lien instant, participer au giveaway. Pour ceux qui sont intéressés, vous pouvez cliquer. Ça vous fera participer à un giveaway pour gagner un jeu. Potentiellement, vous aurez peut-être la chance d'avoir Dune gratuitement. Donc, je vais juste faire une rinite. Voilà. Et on va relancer ça. Ouais, potentiellement, pour ceux qui vont participer au giveaway, vous aurez peut-être la chance d'obtenir une clé de jeu de Dune Awakening. On sait jamais. Pourquoi ça me met pas en grand là? Ah, allez, c'est parti. Donc il n'y aura pas les sous-titrages, donc désolé. Je referai une petite vidéo en parallèle. Parce que pendant les lives, il n'y a pas les sous-titrages. Mais je vais pas tout décrire de A à Z. On va écouter ce qu'ils disent. Et je vous ferai un feedback et une conclusion en fin de live. Concernant cette avant-première qui commence dans 15 secondes. Je vais retirer la cam pour l'avant-première. C'est parti. Let's go. Attention vos oreilles, hein, j'ai monté le son.
Few survive this world. But those who do awaken. The desert wants you dead, off-worlder. If the sands don't take you, the storms will swallow you whole.
Vous pouvez mourir du froid, vous pouvez mourir du manque d'eau et des tempêtes.
In every danger, there is opportunity. The foundation of something greater. A power waiting to be harnessed. Desert power. Some claim to rule this planet. But Arrakis is yours to explore. To fight for. to conquer. But there are forces beyond even your control. Master Arrakis, and it will open your mind. This is your path to awakening.
Hello everybody and welcome to our very first Dune Awakening live. I am Natasha Rösli, Senior PR Manager here at Funcom, and I'm very excited to be your host for today. We have lots of really cool things to go through. Among them, we will show you for the first time live gameplay, while we'll chat about exploration and the world of Dune Awakening. We'll talk about the music and the audio of Dune Awakening. And last but not least, we will also go over our business model and the pre-orders that we just started earlier today. So you'll see we'll have lots to go through. Also, we will be collecting questions from the chat for the different segments, and we will answer those at the end or towards the end of the stream in a Q&A. So get comfy, make sure you're well hydrated, and let's get started.
Welcome to Arrakis, the most dangerous planet in the universe. Dune Awakening is a multiplayer survival game on a massive scale, where the open, ever-changing world ensures exploration remains a vital activity. Join us as we traverse the breathtaking landscapes and uncover what the sands have hidden. Follow in the footsteps of the native Fremen and learn to overcome the deadly environment. Collect materials to craft a shelter, still suit, and your first vehicle, then venture into the desert. With a scanning module installed, you can scan for resources in smaller areas, or climb the highest peaks to launch a survey probe, revealing large swaths of terrain and important locations like shipwrecks or abandoned Imperial testing stations. Traverse difficult terrain with tools like the Shigawire Claw and Suspensor Belt, and claim powerful tech and gear. Expand your fleet of vehicles and upgrade them with new modules to suit your playstyle. From the cockpit of the iconic Ornithopter, even the most remote expanses of Arrakis are within your reach. In the deep desert, massive Coriolis storms regularly sweep across the land with monstrous power, changing the entire map every week. As new resources and secrets are revealed, the race to survey the vast new landscape begins anew. Be the first to mark the location of precious resources, and give the map to your allies, or sell it to other players on the exchange. Here, there are no paths to tread, only power to claim. This is infinite exploration. This is Arrakis.
Alors pour information, ils ont parlé un peu de toutes les mécaniques du jeu, les systèmes de survie, le système des tempêtes, comment ça va fonctionner, les évolutions du terrain par rapport au week-end, à tous les week-ends ça va changer, voilà tout ce qui a été dit. En résumé, je vais faire un bref résumé.
So to talk about the world and exploration in Dune Awakening, we're gonna jump into live gameplay, and I have two guests with me here to talk about that, two very exciting guests. We have here on the side, Jeff, Gagné, who is our world director on Dune Awakening. And we have Øyvind Jernskau, who is expert environmental designer, artist, who will jump on and answer questions in the end as well. Jeff, for example, who you might know, by the way, also as El Jefe. For some of you, if you know, you know. Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit to the viewers?
Yes, I'm Jeff. As Tasha said, I'm the world director on Dune Awakening. I've been in the industry for 2 decades, worked many years at Ubisoft and Prince of Persia, Assassin's Creed, The Division, jumped to other companies, worked on Battlefield, Divinity Original Sin 2, and now I'm working on this beautiful world made out of sand and rock.
And then, Øyvind, do you have a nickname, by the way?
Some people call me All-Father.
All-Father, like Odin?
Yes, because I know so much about
It's
the
like,
game.
it's like office dad as well, right?
Yes.
Like everyone knows we can go to Øyvind if there's any questions.
This is true.
But yeah, introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, hello. My name is Øyvind Jernskau. I've been in the industry for 3 decades.
Yes.
Started with in Funcom in 1996. The majority of my time has been here. I've basically been working on all the Funcom games almost.
On all of them, including Secret Worlds.
Secret World, Longest Journey, Dreamfall, Age of Conan, Exiles, Anarchy Online.
You actually worked on Anarchy Online?
Yes.
Oh my god. I
You're
think
that
a
old.
lot of viewers will go like, yes, right now. So that's amazing.
It doesn't look like it, but you're that old.
Oh my god. We don't do that here. We don't do any age shaming here. I was like, all right. But yeah, so as we now jump into some of the gameplay, we'll have actually Camille behind the camera who is playing for us. We will, there he also emotes, nice,
Well
love
done.
it, love it. So as we take our first step here into the world, I mean, one of the main concerns that players have, or that we see often asked in the public, is like, Arrakis is a desert planet. Is it going to be boring? You know, like, can you do a lot with the desert?
Yes.
But we can, I think we can. I think we can actually say that we can. So what was the biggest challenge, though, to make our Arrakis?
Yeah, it was basically, when I started at Funcom, one of the most important pillar I had for me was, for the world, was verticality, right? Yes, I was in charge of the world on a desert planet, but I wanted to make sure that we would still have a lot of verticality in the game, right? So we'll see that later also, but there's a lot of rock formation and different biomes that we'll explore and things like this, but it was really, really important to me that it was just not a flat space of sand, right? Thanks to Øyvind and a lot of people on the world team, we were able to manage quite a lot of different high elevation with a lot of different vistas, like the one that we have right now. And we can see Camille using the binoculars to make sure that you can look at the trade post. Right here we have 4 of them in Hege Basin, the map that you will play many hours. This is a neutral section that hosts a lot of NPCs. You can talk to vendors, you can get some contracts. It's our quest systems and other things like that in there.
I think it's also interesting to note that while we explore here and use the binoculars, it does actually add the points of interest that you're looking at to the compass at the top.
Yes, exactly.
Plus you can also add your own markers,
absolutely.
right? So I think that's also
Yes.
Oh, I love that one,
Yeah,
by
that's
the
a
way.
little garage that we added
Yes.
because we had, during the beta, there was a lot of
Yes.
players going to the trade post with their hard-earned sand bike, and they were just placing their sand bike here there. They were going to the trade post, and then a sandstorm was coming. When a sandstorm comes, the door closes.
Yep.
We are getting a sandstorm now, so we can.
There
actually,
is a
yes.
sandstorm, so we'll see.
But
We'll
what
see.
I think is very cool, like just to mention that again, we added those garage areas because our beta testers
absolutely.
actually came up with the idea, and they were like, okay, my sand.
Yeah,
bike
can I
is
have
destroyed.
garage?
Like,
Yeah,
can I have a
absolutely.
garage?
Because for us,
So-
I don't know, we play the game so much, so it's hard to know what we don't know, right? So
And we
the
actually
door
have-
closes, and then when you're stuck inside and your bike outside, when you go out, your bike is destroyed. So now if you put at least your bike in a little garage, it's gonna be okay.
Or quite damaged at
yeah,
least,
quite
right? Like,
damaged at least for sure, right?
So we might actually see here the doors being, we see the sandstorm incoming here. Depending if the sandstorm actually comes close enough. It
Yeah,
looks
now
like
it is. Yeah, you should
Yeah, it
get
is.
inside, Kim.
Yeah.
Which is gonna eat a bit of time though, but that's just how it is.
I haven't actually tried. Can you get like squished and killed
I
between the doors? That's actually
think-
something I want to figure out now because I honestly don't know. I haven't tried
Yeah,
that.
Camille, don't try it.
Yeah, don't
But
try
No.
I think you're pushed in or out. I don't exactly remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
You also see like
well,
yeah,
that's funny
the
because
door closed.
there's a lot of things that can happen in the environment, and yeah, that just happened during the stream. So it didn't happen earlier, but now it happened. So we're gonna wait a little bit and talk a bit more, right? So the thing in front of Camille was the that's the contract board. So it's one of the way that you can get quests, like contract things to do, basically. You pick them up and then you do them, you get some rewards. You can also find contract in the world. Some people might have been sent to kill other baddies, and then you just happen there, you steal the contract and you finish the job and get the reward for yourself.
You also saw that you have faction-specific contracts as well. They have like specific icons there, of course. So
Absolutely.
there's lots of things that and then you can of course see your quests or contracts, like we call them here, in your quest log,
Absolutely.
in your contract log, so to speak.
Yes.
So you have like, you also have like the faction
Can I fly you
agents
somewhere
here,
today?
like in
Yes.
these trade posts that you can like talk to if you want to actually start one
I
of
like
the
to
faction
fly.
quest lines.
Yeah,
Fast.
absolutely.
Storms, worms,
There's a
or
quest
static,
line that's
nothing
in you
stops me from
later
getting
in
where I
another
need to go.
region that
But you know what I
brings you
don't
to
like much? Talking.
aligning yourself with one of the main faction, either Atreides or Harkonnen.
And also what we saw just now was you can
Yes.
actually, once you have a trade post explored or unlocked, you can actually use a pilot that flies you to one of the either Arrakis or Harko village, like the
Yes,
faction
you
cities,
can go
the
to.
players'
You can
Ok, donc à partir du moment qu'il y a une tempête de sable, si j'ai bien compris, les bunkers se ferment en attendant que la tempête passe, et si t'es à l'extérieur, bah tu te la prends dans la face en fait. T'as bien te cacher si tu veux pas mourir.
where you can buy and sell things for and from other players.
Yeah, because generally you actually need an ornithopter, right,
Yes.
to go there. So we made sure that even newer players can actually enjoy those areas,
Yeah.
even if they don't have the ornithopter.
priori, il y a
unlocked.
pas de dégâts de
It
chute.
takes a lot of time to get the topter, so it's
It's
good
worth
to be.
it.
It's worth it.
It's,
oh yeah,
absolutely,
it is.
100%.
Absolutely.
It's a really wow moment. I remember when I made myself my first
Ok, il a ralenti la
ornithopter,
chute pour
I was
éviter les
very
dégâts de
proud, and
chute.
it was
là.
a really cool moment.
Sometimes when I test bugs, I just stop and I just fly around.
Really, just to
Yeah, do the booster.
enjoy your work. so
Takes
to
longer
say.
to fix
Yeah.
bugs
Yeah,
because
but nobody knows that.
You gotta enjoy
yeah,
your work,
exactly.
you know.
Well, now everybody knows. But,
You need it, yeah.
Absolutely.
So in this case here, we do have a sandbag already, and we have like a few things that we're checking out now in the base.
Camille deposing blood that he harvested from enemies before. That's the best first way to, well, second way I must say, to hydrate yourself. First way is to suck up sap plant at the start of the game.
Je sais pas, par rapport au sang qu'on récupère sur les corps, on peut le transformer en eau. Pareil pour les plantes.
Into water, where you can then drink.
Ça, on le
You
sait
can
déjà,
also
hein.
drink blood if you're really desperate, but it's not really good.
It's not
not very good.
suggested at least, or
No,
it's not
exactly.
like, yeah.
So yeah, we've shown a lot of Haga Basin South in many of our videos before and other things. So Camille is gonna move away from there. Still see a couple of, have a little look at a couple of other locations on the way. Luckily for us, it's nighttime now, so there's not much sun to deal with because it's better to travel during the night. You don't have to run with shadows and things. And then Camille is
Doing a
having
barrel roll on the
a
ground.
little barrel roll. That's fine. It happens. He's going up that little rock formation here. Beautifully set rest.
I also, yeah, exactly. I love how the guides literally kind of,
Like,
guide you
like
there.
in
The
Bloodborne.
lights guide you a little bit. I mean, I think it's not like too obvious, but it's still like nice to have like little things that your eye goes to.
Exactly. This is
That's
classic world
that's
design and
building,
environment at heart,
right?
you know?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Quand même pas mal de plantes à ramasser pour
Yes,
s'hydrater quand
now
même.
we're
hein.
going to meet our lovely Derek Shinara. He's our planetologist, if I can say it like this. He's one of the NPC that you will meet in the game to learn a new skill tree, basically. So you talk to him, and then you do little things for him, and then when you're done, you will be able to unlock a new skill tree that you might not have when you create your character. There's many of them in the world. You will have to find them, and when you do so, you will be able to unlock more skills to diversify your build.
Yeah.
Basically.
So once again, exploration pays off because you might actually find those trainers out in the wild to like customize your builds as well.
Yes.
Because as we know, you can mix and match all different skill trees
Yes.
as long as you have skills unlocked.
Exactly. And there's lovely little set dressing there done by the art team to really emphasize that this guy's growing some plants in the harsh world of Arrakis. Now,
I'm gonna jump back on your bags. I mean, we also saw Camille use the Shigawire claw earlier. So
yeah, the start.
because traversal and traveling is gonna be a big part, obviously, for players. They will spend a lot of time doing that, so we also wanted to make sure it's actually fun, both in terms of how the world looks like, but also in terms of the options they have to do that, right?
Absolutely.
You wanna?
Well, using the Shigawire during combat is can be quite effective as well. You can even use it to stun.
Very true.
Yeah, exactly.
that's very
It's a
true.
multiple purpose, and
Yeah.
then I don't remember if Kendall was doing that. Oh,
Do we have a
Pretty good.
dynamic encounter here?
yeah, that's a dynamic encounter. So yeah, sometimes you travel the world and then things happen, and then it was a group of scavenger with a broken down bike, and then
They wanted
yeah.
your bike.
Yeah, exactly. They shoot on sight.
Also, they didn't plan well enough.
No,
obviously,
exactly,
Because that's
exactly.
something you should definitely do. You need to be able, or you need to plan ahead.
Il a pris des dégâts hein, quand même. Bon,
Yes,
pas
now
grand
we're gonna go
chose
to
sur
the
sa bécane, mais il en a
Rebirth.
pris.
There's this thing flying in the background. It's a Sardaukar dropship. They will soon disappear because they are only there during the night. They have this massive light, and then if you get caught into the light, you're stunned into place for a little bit of time, and they throw Cho mercenary at you. You're not important enough for them to send Sardaukar, but they still send Cho mercenary to basically get rid of you because, for reasons I will not talk about here, they are there to find you, basically.
Look for someone.
Exactly.
For someone.
So now the worm is probably getting out. Yes.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Oh.
Yep.
We
Don't
can
stand still.
Yeah,
Those-
you should get out there.
Too much vibration. You see the vibration bar there, so you
Yes.
actually pissed
The little
someone
worm.
off back there. The little one. Those are the little ones.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But what's cool about the sandworm specifically is that they actually have their own territory.
Yes.
Like they have their own kind of life, if you right.
Yes, absolutely. It's not visible for the players, but there's many worms in the map, and they all have their own territory. And then when you cross them, it's another worm that's gonna run after you, and they're really territorial. Yeah, exactly. Excuse my French. And that's yes, they will come after you no matter what. And the more vibration you do,
Sur quoi ils
the
tirent
faster they will come to you.
J'aimerais savoir sur quoi ils tiraient les PNJ là-bas. Sur le verre des sables?
Different slices and different areas as well. So we just pass. Are we going into? I think it's actually in.
Yeah,
It's a
I
camp.
think-
It's
yeah,
an
exactly.
NPC camp. Yes.
And now we'll see the beauty of Oyvin's work and world design. There's a beautiful arch that when you pass it,
Wow.
look at this. There's
The
this
vista.
beautiful, exactly. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Remember to stop here, go off your bike, enjoy it.
Exactly. Enjoy it.
We spend a lot
Stay
of
in
time
the
on
shade.
this.
Stay in the shade.
Stay in the
Make
shade.
sure. But also, what we just saw here was that there is an icon there, like at the camp as well, because
The Kirab.
the
Kirab symbol.
yes.
Yes.
So, for example, the camps have different factions, or we have different factions in the game, different NPC factions. They might even fight each other as well. You will
Yes.
notice that as you explore. But more importantly, there is a reason and that they look different as well.
Yeah, yeah. We have
Et là, il a
to
changé ses
diversify
skills.
the camps, right? So they have the Kirabs, they like the broken machines, they try to fix them. We have the scavengers, which is like the first faction you actually meet. They're just trying to survive, like you, of course. And later on, you get more and more advanced factions. And they
On va
all
regarder un
have,
peu le
you know,
fight,
the-
comment
the-
ça se
the
passe,
banners,
s'ils l'ont amélioré par rapport au
and
couteau et
kind of
tout
way
aussi.
of
Là.
life.
J'aimerais bien voir un fight au
And how
couteau, moi.
important they are on the hierarchy.
Tiens, il l'a
You
paralysé.
need to fight your way up to the top.
Exactly.
Ah,
And
non.
they use different abilities also. And yeah, the higher you go
Tiens, ça tombe bien.
in the factions, basically, the harder enemy gets, and they have more abilities to attack you and different weapons. Oh,
Oh.
there you go. Got stunned a little bit. But now Camille has a shield, so he's pretty much invincible to bullets, even though there's a power drain when he gets shot at. But that's a really good way to survive against melee, against range weapons.
I love his path though, like the build. I am a sword master at heart. I love the sword master tree, so I am melee to do. I actually hate if I have to use a weapon. I love the combos and those things. So.
I'm more of a gun guy myself.
You're a gun guy yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
That's the beauty of things, right? You can play like you like to play.
Yeah.
Like your approach, you can also be more sneaky.
Yes.
I always try to be more sneaky, and then I just end up aggroing the whole camp. It never works out.
Camille using the voice right here to attract the heavy. They are.
Ok, lui il est plus balèze que les
And
autres.
they have shields,
Yeah, they're annoying.
and
They're very annoying.
light machine guns. They're pretty annoying, yes.
Par contre, le contrôle mental, il dure pas, il dure vraiment très. C'est très rapide. Hein.
So, talking
Oula.
about combat, we know that you have a lot of questions regarding melee combat in general. So we won't go into that today, also question or reply-wise, but we will have a dedicated combat stream for you down the line.
Yes.
And then you can throw all the questions you have at us then. So just keep that in mind if you don't know.
Merci pour l'abonnement, Retsumaru.
Very aware that you know more.
So this one is a shield, so there's different weapons that are good against that. And there's using a disruptor right there, which is high burst rifle, throw a lot of bullets at the same time, so that's really good to be able to do. And then you can finish them off by how you want. Now it disappeared, which is really good, but Camille was fighting under the sun earlier.
C'est moi, je pense. Pour moi, ils ont accéléré le rythme de combat à la lame. Hein. Parce que de base, c'était beaucoup plus lent sur les présentations qu'on a vues. Hein.
And now his hydration is pretty low. So you can see also whenever he shoots, the shield is turned off by default because you cannot shoot when you have a shield on you, of course. So you have to be careful into when you use a ranged weapon with a shield.
Now we can harvest their blood.
Yeah, that's
The
what he's
blood
been
of
doing
the
now.
enemies.
He fill all his container. There's a lot of different containers that we have in the game. There's a little light that is pretty straightforward to know what is lootable and what is not. There's different size of chests. That's a bigger one right here. You get better loots and bigger piece of armor and things like that.
Par
That's
contre, il a pris tarif.
so you get a lot of med kits and different things.
Soigne,
The
là.
locker that was there is pieces of components to craft and upgrade different weapons in the game, and then there's a lot of different things. Also, there's bigger, glowier, better chests. Also, we're gonna see one later because, like Tasha was saying, there's a lot to explore in this world, and I was personally more than happy to hide a lot of different things in all corners and
Il y a des endroits
height
cachés
and
comme ça là.
depth of this planet. The turret is probably going to do its job. There you go. It's really good
la tourelle a
skill
fait
to
mal,
use at the start, by the way. It's really good against enemies. But there's a shield, so it doesn't do much. There you go. Slow blade, and then turret finished up the enemy, which is good.
I'm not sure if you saw it, but you can also parry.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
The enemy blades,
Yes.
stun them a little bit.
And now Camille's in a cave, which is another little piece of environment. This is a tiny cave that we have right here.
Also, we just found the contract there.
No, it's
Isn't that a contract?
it's a contract container, but there was nothing right here because he doesn't have the contract.
Oh, it was actually a quest item.
Exactly,
Okay,
it was a
yeah.
quest item, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have a contract. So at least for this specific, there's a lot of different places that you can find pieces before you have the contract, and when you have the contract, you can turn it already.
J'aime bien le système de minage, il est bien fait. Tu scannes, tu as le trait, tu
did the
passes
little
dessus.
cave, which is another little environment that you get specific component in there. It's a old Fremen remnant.
C'est une mécanique que j'aime bien.
From their ancient past, because you know that Fremen have had a little bit of a hard history in our timeline right here. And you can find different components to craft different things like steel suits and cutter rays and things like that. And there's other landmark like the one we've seen right here, this big mining rig that has been abandoned for years and years, that now have been conquered, and now it's Kirabs living there, like you said, right? All right,
And
another
we're-
base.
Yes, we're at our second base here. Super nicely done.
Beautiful
by the
base.
way,
Oh, les bases,
by-
elles sont
yeah,
bien
by
faites. Hein,
Tony Gill. Shout out
tu
to
peux
Tony
tu peux
Gill
les mettre
from
dans les
Marketing
rochers et
Team,
tout.
Our communications manager. He is our internal builder. He is just amazing.
Oh, he does.
Also, talking about building, like the screenshots that our beta testers are posting on our Discord are so mind-blowing. I cannot wait
Yes.
what the wider community is going to do with this. Like,
Yeah.
I am so excited. It's probably one of the things that I'm most excited about, what people will come up with building-wise.
Absolutely, because if
I
you
can't
remember,
wait.
there was the don't remember the name, but there was this person in the beta that made this car dealer.
The car dealer.
Yes.
Yes.
There was this massive base with little.
Yeah, like almost like honeycomb things.
Yeah.
Alors, par rapport aux bases, les bases de zone PvE ne sont pas lootables. Hein. Les bases que les joueurs feront ne seront pas lootables entre nous. Par contre, les bases en PvP, dans le Deep Desert plus tard, seront full lootables. C'est-à-dire, vous laissez un coffre, vous êtes sûr à 100% de vous le faire arracher. Hein. Mais dans toute la zone PvE, rien n'est lootable entre joueurs.
I think DT, I think he now can abandon like.
Donc tu trouves pas mal de stuff quand même dans les stocks quand même.
Tends to Thor because there's another base, right? But that's a big thing in the game. We expect player to move because everyone will start in the Haga base in south that you can see here.
That's his old base.
Yeah, that's his old base, and then he can just abandon it, and then it's gonna be cleaned up by the storms.
Yes.
And it's really cool because, well, he doesn't have to get back there because he brought all his things already. But also it gives more space for the new players that will join the server to be able to build their base there. Yeah. So there's this flow of players that can go and further into the map, right?
So the Storm is like a Roomba of Arrakis.
Yeah, Storm is, Shaiulu, then Storm is the Roomba of Arrakis, absolutely, 100%. So now it's time to fly.
This, of course, opens up the world even more.
Yes.
So you have a lot of additional opportunities and a lot of additional options now. Here we're looking at the area we were just at.
Tu peux détruire ta base à distance et ça renvoie tout dans...
Again, for me, this was such an amazing moment when I, for the first time, got my very own ornithopter. I had to craft it myself. I had to work for it, literally in the game. And then you get to fly.
Yes. So that hole down there, Imperial Testing Station. We have different type. This one is a geological one, so it's more about old research about mining and resources and different minerals that got abandoned for 10,000 years when spice was discovered. They abandoned a lot of different things, and they've been recently reopened. And then, of course, there's a lot of baddies that are living there now. They took care of that. Mostly, again, we're still in the Vermilius Gap, so it is Kirab living in there.
Also, we just flew over that white.
This white puff right there. This is flower sand. It's a resource that you can harvest either by hand, which is not really. I mean, you can. It's not that great, but you can.
It's not as efficient.
It's not efficient, exactly. Or with a static compactor, which is way more efficient. But it's on the sand, so of course you create vibration, and then what that means?
Worm
is coming, exactly. So now we're gonna. Oh, there's this big ship that fly from time to time, and there's also
a crashed spaceship that is coming down slowly out of the atmosphere. Yes.
That's a small crashing ship that's gonna fall
events.
somewhere. We don't know where. It happens from time to time. So we went onto this little flat rock. Literally, we called it literally that. It's the flat rock.
Is it actually called the flat rock?
I think there's an outpost. There's an outpost just under it.
Joel, give it a name, Joel.
Joel is the one who gave the name, by the way.
Seriously?
Yeah, there's flat rock outpost. There's a spice blow now happening. That's pretty good. Okay.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Yes.
So just so everyone, there's nothing scripted.
C'est une zone d'épices.
Right? So,
dynamic.
But Camille is gonna burn himself now because he's under the sun. So you should go hide.
Do not stand on a place where you see there's something happening, something in that color. Exactly. Do not stand on it. Just as a tip.
So that's one of the glowy chests I was talking about. As I said, there's a lot of them hidden throughout the world in many places, and then in them you can find these purple thing. It's unique schematics. When you find one, you need to go back to a safe space to be able to learn it. And Camille found a couple more
D'accord, en fait, tu peux
This is
trouver
the
des
good
plans,
stuff.
faut vraiment
Including
bien
a
chercher
last gun.
partout. Hein.
Including a last
Yeah,
gun.
people wonder about
This is
last
really
guns.
late game, by the way.
We do have
but,
last guns in the
yes,
game.
we do have last guns, but you cannot create nuclear explosion with them.
Ce qui pourrait être bien avec ces plans, c'est qu'on pourra les trade avec les autres guildes.
Specific, end time.
Si on les a en doublon ou s'ils les ont pas.
Safety.
Safety,
Safety. If you point at another player or an enemy with a shield with a las gun, that will not shoot. Because we don't want to just everyone to just nuke everyone for the lulls, you know.
It will basically just block.
Yeah, exactly.
It will what is the term?
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's there's probably an English word for that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But you're safe and sorry.
But
yeah, exactly.
this is one of the things that I was really excited about, and I know both your teams were working really hard on to find those hidden places and hide goodies for players to find.
C'est un
I
marquage.
remember even in normal the small caves that we saw earlier that are actually relatively small, I was climbing there as just figuring out how high can I actually go up in that cave, and then I found a little nook who literally had a chest with something very rare.
Yes.
And I personally, as a player, I love those things because it makes me feel probably not everyone has found that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see the big hammer right there. It's an landmark called Mirzaba. Well, if you climb at the top, maybe there's another thing, you know?
Maybe not.
Maybe not, you know?
But it's not always that obvious. It's actually really fun that sometimes there's nothing there, and no, actually.
Yeah, there's obvious place, but also so now Camille used the survey probe, which is really cool. So it surveyed a part of the map and then opened up, and now we can see a lot of different things. So you can see the shipwreck just north of is where the mouse is. There's different outposts, and this is where you can get intel points. You see right here 0 out of 1. This is where you can unlock more tech in the tech tree. There's the red circle you see there. This is drum sand. So this is a Dune thing. If you go there, you hear it when you play boom, 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 and it attracts the worm like no tomorrow. And there's the other ones also that we see with the little lines on the right, which is tidal dust, which is the Dune term. Internally, it's quicksand.
Yeah.
Number 1 killer of vehicle.
Yes.
Which is interesting though, because in the 80s, I was really thinking quicksand is gonna be a way bigger problem than it is nowadays. Because my childhood was ruined by movies with quicksand. That's let's just not talk about never-ending story. But anyway, so we have quicksand in the game here. So here it is actually a problem.
Yes, absolutely.
And I know from personal experience that
Yes.
it loves to eat
Exactly.
vehicles.
So you can see a lot of landmark there. Thanks
Ooh,
to,
and also a
again,
nice barrel roll
Yeah.
here from Camille. Very nicely done. So we have different modes in when you fly. We
Yes.
have
you can
wanna
fly.
remember that?
There's
the
the
vulture modes.
yeah, exactly.
normal.
You can do a lot of different things, and it's arcadey in a way, right? But it's easy to use, and it's really pleasant to go around. And Camille right there is just showing another thing also. I was talking about quicksand and drum sand, but there's also radiation in the game. You can see it with this little cute fuzzy
C'est
thing
vraiment
that looks like
super bien
dark
fait, les
lights,
décors,
but,
hein.
yeah, you don't go there.
Don't stay in there.
No, exactly.
And actually, let's do, but because we have more things to show, obviously, we're gonna fly to some other areas. But we would like to start a poll here and open it up to Twitch chat. What would you like to go see between Imperial testing station or a shipwreck? Those two. Maybe we can also explain what the difference is.
100%, absolutely.
But also, so we open a poll, and if you do exclamation mark vote A or vote B, so you can vote for either of them, and then at the end of I don't know, maybe 2-5 minutes, we see how long we're gonna run it. We'll see what you voted for, and we go.
Il y a un vote pour décider ce que les gens veulent voir.
Yeah, we're going into a little higher tier,
Yes.
and Camille is not fully equipped for that, but that's fine. He's gonna get good, and it's gonna be great.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Now we also see different rock textures, right? What's the inspiration to go with specific?
Je vais voter sur mon
rock textures?
téléphone.
Maybe you can talk about
Oh,
it
yeah,
a
that's
little
what
bit.
Ah yeah, rocks. My
Owen's,
specialty.
Owen's favorite topic, rocks.
Rocks and sand.
I love blazing rocks. Yeah, the Vadirom is kind of the inspiration for a lot of the rock shapes. You will probably see it from the movie.
Hop,
but
j'ai
of
voté
course,
sur le téléphone.
that's a bit too Earth-like, so we had to kind of, ramp it up a little bit. Place some rocks vertically, having like these little mushroom shapes with kind of like holes. And maybe there's a little secret on top of some of them.
Or inside them.
Or inside
also.
them.
Or under
Exactly.
them.
Or under them, there's canyons. Because we have to make it a little bit more alien, right? So we can't just use Earth-like.
Ooh,
shapes.
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, you're getting good at this.
Also,
Yeah.
what I personally love is that also when you're
Oh
down
là
on-
là
when
là
you're
là,
down on
les
the
zones,
ground
elles sont
too,
incroyables, hein.
There's
Certaines
always
zones.
this super nice silhouette that we have. You know, I feel like it's never just flat desert, right? It's always like, was that planned? Before we go into the Haga Rift here, are those planned? How does that work?
Some are happy accidents.
There's some, because like Bob Ross would say, some are happy accidents, but there's a lot of, like at the way earlier, right? The archway, and then there was the thing in the back. It's 100%
Very
planned,
planned.
of course. This is classic world design, environment design, just to make sure that like it's, yes, of course it's reality and things, but we just magically place things in line, you know. So when you get somewhere, and you were talking about when we were visiting Derek, there was all these lights, you know, and well, this is classic level design and art design, right? We guide you with things, you don't really think about it, and then magically you just reach a thing. And Camille is scanning for things now. I guess it's time
But
to go.
yes, so that's the other thing, right? Like, we actually have verticality in the game, so it's
Yes.
not just flat desert, it's on one level. So
That's,
talk to us about this.
Yeah, Ivan, talk to us about how we. It was not easy when when we talked about this beautiful region here, how we made it, but.
Yeah, what was the first thing? I want a canyon. Okay, here we have a canyon. Deeper. Deeper? Yes, deeper.
C'est incroyable la
No
verticalité dans le
elevation.
jeu qu'ils ont fait.
It was a challenge because you need to actually get up from this deep canyon as well, right? So we have these platforms that you can drive on, and in the beginning we didn't have that many, so we needed to add more and then traverse between them.
Putain, ça
And these
descend
tunnels,
profondément, vache.
which
T'as pas intérêt à tomber dans
are
l'eau.
cool, but then we needed to make them cooler with the mining galleries.
Exactly.
And then he wanted a bit dark.
Le temps de fouiller tout ça.
Yeah, at some point
Which is cool.
We had the Hager Rift, and it was all fun and game and things, but I was like, how could we make it different?
Yeah.
So I was playing a lot of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and
there
I
you
was
go,
like,
yeah.
you know, in the underworld, do that. And then of course pitch darkness is not great for art, so you know we had a lot of iteration and amazing work with the lighting
Yeah.
team to make sure that you can still see in the dark and things like that, right? So, but it was a bit of a struggle to
It's a
make
challenge.
that canyon in there.
Yeah. And I think also, and I know it because I actually placed the tech for it, but you are safe from the sandstorm.
Yes.
Down in there.
Oh, that's nice. That's good to know. So if a sandstorm is coming, dive into the Haga Rift.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm safe.
And there's obviously there's no worm. There's no worm down there also, you know. So
That's a
you're
good
pretty
thing
good.
too.
There's other things.
Yes.
There's other things, but you know it's different. So where are we going?
We are going to the shipwreck.
You're going to shipwreck.
Chat has voted.
Ouais, shipwreck.
We are going to the shipwreck. Let's check
All
out the
right,
shipwreck.
all right.
So also let's talk about, like I mentioned, the difference between because there's differences between like
Yes.
Imperial testing station or a shipwreck.
Yes, I think the biggest part, in fact, that is kind of related to location, but not at the same time, is the Kenley, right? We haven't talked about Kenley. We had it a little bit earlier when we went to the trade post. We were in Kenley Guild Peace. You can see on the top right, there's a Kenley limited warfare. This is the PvE region, and now you're going to see the yellow thing under the compass when Camille will go closer. The Kenley is going to change to War of Assassin.
C'est le
So
ship qui volait
every
tout à l'heure
single,
là-haut.
Shipwreck.
En fait, le ship qu'on a vu tout à l'heure là-haut, c'est celui, il s'est craché. Ce qui a causé la grosse explosion en fait.
So when you go there, you need to be careful because yes, you have enemies to fight, but also potentially other players. You don't know, right? And then Imperial Testing Station are PvE. There's no problem with that. The big difference also is that, well, they offer different challenges, they offer a different look, of course, but also they offer a different loot. There are specific components that you want to get at shipwrecks, to mainly craft weapons, and at Imperial Testing Station, it's a lot of things mainly to craft vehicles. It's not only that, but it's why you would want to go to one or the other. And then we can see here that now Camille is fighting harder enemies. This is the slavers now. It's another faction.
He's got his drone out as well.
Don't want to be captured by those guys.
Yes, and they use a lot of suspensor grenade and thematic abilities to basically hook you in place and shoot at you and things like that. So.
We just talked about the resources.
Je sens qu'ils sont un peu plus solides là, hein. Par rapport à tout à l'heure, ils ont plus d'armure.
But there is generally other ways as well that you can find, or you can buy those resources, or you can buy them from other players, of course, but also from trade posts in some cases. You can also find them sometimes. It's just not as efficient.
Exactly.
Right? Like
if you
get it in higher quantity in these areas.
Exactly.
But
if you absolutely don't want at all to even get close to a PvP zone, you can buy the components for Solari, which is the Dune monetary resource, right?
Yeah.
Which is, we always have different ways of getting things depending on your play style in the game. So
Tu peux rentrer dans le ship? Oh, c'est incroyable.
This is,
tu peux aller fouiller tout le ship à l'intérieur.
He got the ID band earlier, which is pretty good, so he was able to cross it. It's a shield basically. You cannot pass through if you don't have the ID, but he had. So.
C'est quoi ça? C'est un drone?
Then probably get another one.
Ah non.
That's
Ah ouais, si c'est un.
They're meaner these guys, because yeah, that's slavers. So.
Ils sont plus solides. Hein. Tout à l'heure, ça le tuait direct.
Quel
contrôle mental.
He's doing really well though, I gotta say.
Yeah.
The fact that they're like...
They have this pushback abilities, because when you get too close, they get mean. Here we go. Nice. Great. So yeah, you can see here the different things. Also the armor plating. This is.
Ils ont. Pardon.
Different things.
Ça a été modifié le truc de la lame. Ils l'ont accéléré énormément les systèmes de pénétration, je pense.
Thanks Dune for all these great terms.
You'll get used
we have to use. Yeah, exactly. Right? Instead of wood and rock, we have these things. But yeah, this is all these things you get in shipwrecks. Bring that to your base, and then that's going to be helping you to craft weapons, specifically. And then there's a buggy right there. This is there. You can steal it. We have that in the game also. You can steal vehicles from NPCs. So that helps you drive faster or different things like that. So kill that guy or skip him. Because there's a big loot container close by that Camille, I'm sure, want to get. Spoilers. Or not. Camille doesn't care about the loot. It's fine. He has already he already has a last gun anyway.
We've seen the big chest,
yeah,
and
exactly,
he's armored up to his teeth anyway. So yeah.
Absolutely. Now we got another cycle again. It's night, so the starter car drop ship are probably out, but in this region there's not a lot. Because we're farther into the game now.
All right.
There you go. That's pretty cool.
Let's press on.
Yes. We have so much to cover.
out of the Canley area into the normal area again. So you'll see. You will always get an information when you cross something. So you will know that now I'm in PvP.
Yeah, under the compass, it turns yellow if you go into PvE. It turns green if you go into guild peace, which is mainly cities and neutral zone, and it gets into red if you go into PvP area.
Right. So when we talk about hazards, we talked about hazards earlier. So we have the radiation, of course. We have the quicksand.
Yes.
Heat. Heat is also.
We have heat. We have fire. We have poison.
Worms.
Yeah. We have the worm, of course.
That's a big hazard.
The sandstorms, also, of course. There's that. The starter car. It's not really a hazard, but it's a thing that can get in your way during the night. And it's always when you don't think about it, and then you see this big light coming to you, and then you have the Cho mercenaries falling from the sky, and you start shooting at you while going down because they use suspensors, you know.
I really like the fact, oh, here we are actually gonna fly into the
Overland map.
edge of the map and go into the overland map.
Yes. So the map that we've seen right there, we've seen just a little bit of it. This is one map. When you craft an ornithopter, you can leave.
Ok, il y a des passages de map, d'accord.
You can go to different places, including the deep desert. That we
Par
will
contre,
not
t'as
go
des
now.
queues, t'as des... Ça
we're
arrête des
gonna
comptes.
show you
J'espère que ça va pas être contraignant.
That's a tutorial, we can close that.
We know that people really wanted to see the deep desert, rest assured.
Parce que si t'as beaucoup de monde dedans et que tu peux pas rentrer, je pense qu'il y
We
aura
have
plusieurs
this map
serveurs à
right
mon avis.
here, where you're basically flying your little ornithopter, and then you can head towards different maps, which is a good thing for us also in the future. We will be able to add a lot more content with this, which is really great. So
Comment ça
that's the
fonctionne?
Haga Basin map that we're
Waouh,
running,
c'est
and
ultra
then
bien
we,
fait.
Head south towards Harko village.
D'accord.
So Camille is piloting his little thing. You have water on one side and fuel on the other. And,
A little bit of a swirl there.
a little
love it.
swirl there. There you go.
A little bit of
Little thing.
little bit of a
You have these little
flourish.
fueling and water deposit here, so you can just stop there, and then your water will go up again. Because even in this little map right here, you're still a survival game, so you know fuel and water is important. And now we're gonna enter Harko village.
As we saw earlier, we had at the first trade post, we actually have NPCs that can get you there too.
Yes,
Before
the
you have
taxi,
an
yes,
ornithopter, or you can
absolutely.
fly yourself if you have one.
Exactly. It costs a bit of salary to get to cities, of course. We don't do that for nothing.
No one
But,
does anything for free on our
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
And, well, your character, that's what happens.
Wow.
They
Oh,
could-
hello.
Wow, c'est quoi ça?
Hello.
All right, she
There we
forgot
go.
to dress. Okay, there we
It
go.
happens.
Yes.
Loading.
Ah,
Took
c'était
a
son
bit of
personnage
loading,
sans la
but,
combinaison.
so, Harko village, this
C'est
is
horrible.
where the Harkonnen are for now in the game. And we'll not...
We're not gonna actually
Spoil too
show it
much.
too much here, but that's probably a really nice area to
yes.
close off.
Vous en pensez quoi du
Yeah,
déplacement sinon
Obviously,
sur la map
lots
là?
of things to do there, lots of people to talk to.
Yes,
contract
obviously we are
together.
actually playing on on our own servers right now, on our own
Yes.
server. We're not playing on the beta, or we're not playing on, especially not on the beta, because we didn't want player come like,
Beta
hey
to
mom,
crash-
I'm on
to
camera.
crash into
You know,
us.
like yes. So we just needed to do the things that we needed to do, right? And so that's just a single player.
Yes.
So that's the reason you don't see any other players here.
Yes.
Generally, you will, obviously. So, yes, let's wrap it up here for the live gameplay and exploration and the worlds. Thank you to Camille for playing in the back there. That was fantastic.
You can't see him, but he did a great job.
Yes, and also thank you, of course, Øyvind and Chef, for making time to be on stream and chat to us about all of this. It was a pleasure, as always.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes. It was
And-
great.
I work next door.
Yeah, you didn't have that far, right? It was like just
I had
walk over.
a bit longer to get, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
it's good to be
we're
here.
here at our offices in Oslo.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yes,
From Sweden.
Yes, you had a little longer. But yes, so we're actually gonna go into our next segment, which is going to be about the music and the audio of Dune Awakening. And to get us into the mood for that, we're actually going to watch a really cool video, the behind the scenes of how the soundtrack was recorded in London.
Ils vont présenter la vidéo qu'on a regardée tout à l'heure. Sur la musique. Bah, elle est incroyable la musique, je vous la laisse.
The most important thing music lends to a game is the emotional part. And this is something music does better than any other thing.
Sound is 50% of the experience. You can play a game without sound, but sound will convey the emotions that we have written and planned for. It connects the unconnected. We are approaching launch, and I'm here in London to watch the beautiful soundtrack being recorded at Lyndhurst.
It's been in my mind since the very beginning that we have to try and record this at air. The sound of the hall is, in my mind, it's the best place in the world to record. And also the sense of scale that it lends to a production like this is exactly what we need. It gives us this huge sound that we cannot achieve anywhere else. The other thing that is equally important is the level of the musicians here. It's a level of perfection that you don't really encounter very much.
Being there and hearing the songs been a fantastic experience. We're looking forward to get all this great music into the game.
When Arild first approached me with this project, he said it was Dune, and I got very inspired to work. I could see so many things that we could do with the music. It is always a bit of a challenge to work on something that other people have worked on before you. Hans Zimmer's score from the films is spectacular music, and you have to take that into consideration when you're working on the same IP.
Knut is particularly interesting. He has great anthemic songs, and it was natural for me to get in touch with him when we started this project. So we experimented quite a bit in the beginning. The Dune books, there is fantastic lore. It's an established universe in every way. But it also have these limitations. There's no computers, there's no gunpowder in the world. It's not the typical digital sci-fi slick soundscape you're used to in many games.
In the game, you can be anyone you like, you can belong to any faction. So there are very few areas and situations in the game that are purely Atreides, purely Harkonnen, purely Fremen. So you have to approach it in a different way.
Knut is a classical composer. He composes for orchestra, but we started out experimenting with synthesizers, and that was a really fun exercise to see what he would come up with. We definitely wanted these heavy synths, broken up brass and huge arcing strings. Arrakis is just a huge open landscape, ice cold at night, burning hot at day. You're alone as a player, and we really needed the music to fit and work with the landscapes. We came up with pillars for what we want to achieve. One of the pillars we wanted to use was flow, which means how sound needs to flow over time, not be too intrusive. The next pillar was information. Information is very important to players, and sound plays a big part of that. And the last pillar is evocation. We want to evoke feelings with our sound design.
From the very beginning, we decided that the music should be written in D. D because it's a very practical to write in, with everything recorded in the same tempo, in the same key. We have different parts, we have different layers. Suddenly, we have endless possibilities for variation.
The deliveries from Knut are delivered in stems, which are interchangeable and layered, so we can play around with it and adapt naturally to any situation. What we might start with is ambient music, supporting the normal game scenario, a player walking around, maybe building, doing survival gameplay, just beautiful music to support the visuals. Then suddenly a war might appear, or you might be attacked by a terrible scavenger. We need the music to change fast. We have a traditional adaptive music system where we use horizontal layering and vertical layering to do that.
On this project, I've been able to do a lot of creative things with the music that I haven't been able to really work with before. It allowed me to step out of the box of traditional orchestral thinking and explore a much bigger musical world. Windsack is an interesting track. The vocalist is very central here. The singer in this track, she represents Mother Arrakis, the voice of Arrakis. She's the voice of the desert. It doesn't become music before you put a human in there. And that human makes it music. And every now and then you meet a performer that can really elevate your music and your intentions. You just feel in awe. It's like a religious experience. It's just there. You cannot really imagine how you could write it down, because you can't. You cannot write this down. You rely on someone that can actually bring it to life. We are extremely happy that we were able to do this here and with these people. The musicians are such a high level that you cannot really get that anywhere else. It's been an amazing experience, and it's elevating our game to a different level.
In terms of iconic sounds, we try to do what we think is right, and you never know what will become iconic. It could be a small sound, it could be a UI sound reminding you of a sandstorm approaching. There's the worms, which are maybe the most iconic part of the books. It's been very interesting to work with these worms and try to come up with our own soundscape for them. In the books, they are described, sound-wise, as just hiss of sand. What you will hear when the worm approaches is you might hear your vehicle shaking, your building shaking. The sandworms are divine environmental creatures, not monsters. They will breach through the ground and make huge, breathy screams, but still we try not to make them too monster-like. Sound is increasingly important in this type of games, and in general today I think it's more respected than ever. You have the technical aspects where sound need to convey information. Sound design can tell you what's inside a box, what's the technology behind this. We want players to be able to close their eyes and just listen to the soundscape and the wind and what's going on to understand where they are, whether it's in Sheol, which is a radioactive area, the Red Desert is known as Vermilius Gap, or the opening area, Hagabas in South. It's truly wonderful to work with sound and have a great team to work with, and such an amazing IP as Dune to explore.
The most important function of music in visual media is to lend emotion to the visuals. And this is something music does better than any other thing. Another very important function of the music is to create a sense of time and space. What it does for the game is that it helps transport the player into a new universe, to a strange new world, to the world of Dune, to Arrakis.
C'est vrai que les musiques, elles sont incroyables. Hein. Elles sont vraiment belles.
So let's talk about the music and the audio design in Dune Awakening. Both things that are, of course, incredibly important. And I do have two exciting guests with me now. Sitting here to my left, I have Knut Avenstrup-Haugen, award-winning composer on several of our games, and also Arild Iversen, who is our audio director here at Funcom. Knut, would you like to introduce yourself quickly to our viewers?
Well, you already did it, I think. I'm Knut. I'm the composer for Dune Awakening, and I also did Age of Conan and Conan Exiles for Funcom. So I've been working with Funcom for actually 22 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you work on Anarchy Online as well?
No, I didn't.
No,
that
not
was
on that
before.
On Secret World?
No, that
No.
was also someone else, but I started in 2003 with Age of Conan. That's when we first started working on that game. So it's a long time. Yeah.
That a lot of players here probably will recognize as well. Like the soundtrack is absolutely amazing. And as I mentioned, award-winning too. Yes. Arild, you would like to introduce yourself quickly?
Yeah, so Arild, I've been around here for just around 2013, I think. I worked on most games since then. I didn't work on Age of Conan, but I did one sound, I think. I did a pop-up.
It was
a level-up sound.
You did one sound?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome, though. You can say you were involved in that, too.
So now audio direction for Dune, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. So yeah, talking about Dune, we mentioned, Knut, that you have, of course, worked on Age of Conan and Conan Exiles, but Dune is, of course, very different in many aspects. How was it to work on Dune compared to the other games?
Yeah, so, you know, for a composer, the most interesting thing is to be able to do something new, something different. That's always very exciting and kind of gets your get you going.
Juices flowing.
Yes, exactly. That's very exciting always. So it was. I was very happy to be able to start working with something like Dune because it allowed me to, well, both the Age of Conan and Conan Exiles. They have ethnic instruments and not just the orchestra, but I worked very much with the orchestra in other projects as well. So it was very liberating for me to be able to dive into a world where I could really work with synthesizers and sound design and creating sounds and manipulating sound and kind of create a new sonic palette that was very different to anything I had done before. That was very that was, I think, the most interesting or exciting aspect about starting working on Dune. So there's also another aspect of it, and that is the music in Dune is more adaptive and interactive than in the previous games we've done with Funcom. So that means that I deliver the music in parts and in layers, and so I write complete pieces, but I also divide it up in parts and layers, and then Arild can use those parts to create new versions of the music.
Maybe it makes sense to go into that with you, like immediately. Also, like, how do you? So once the music is delivered by Knut in layers, how does it get translated, or how is it going to be used in the game?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of great tracks from Knut. They were recently recorded in London, like you mentioned, and now I have, you know, all the tracks, and they come in 40 stems, that is layers. The tracks separated in anything in the orchestra. It can be flute, voice, synthesizers, various percussion, and so there's the kind of the vertical layers, and then there's elements. I can break them apart. I'm not remixing them, but I can explore what's in the track and build it up with small segments and then into a large track. So I can use that for narrative, progression, and kind of the flow for the game. So it's really cool to work with. So yeah.
That's awesome. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, we use it, for instance, for in a special place we have now. I can combine certain elements of the music. Everything's in D minor. It's all in the same BPM. That's how we decided to do this. Do the music in the project so it can flow. And some of it has this kind of a little bit Trent Reznor-like sound to it that I'm not sure if Knut intended or not. But it's small. I find small things within the music I can use before we kind of evolve into the whole track itself. So.
To basically find the perfect area for some of these layers. And
absolutely.
Also, you mentioned, of course, the recording. Thank you for that. We can just go into that one, because one of the very cool things with this production, specifically when it comes to the soundtrack, was that we were able to record at Ayer Studio in London, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. And like it was also, like you mentioned in the video that we just saw as well, that you were super excited to be there. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
We have been very privileged to be able to record everything at Air Studios. It's one of the best recording studios in the world, and everyone who works there has been really involved in the project. They are the best you can find in the industry, the best musicians. So everything has been done at the absolute top level. So we have, so that is of course extremely exciting to be able to do, and we have been very privileged to be able to do that. Yeah.
From what I understand, we actually had to kind of not push someone out, but we actually got a slot, which
Yeah.
was very like
Yeah,
lucky
so the
too.
thing is that we decided to do it there at quite a late stage, but Air is a very popular studio, so it had been booked, fully booked for 2 years already. So you need to challenge the booking, saying, okay, we can do it and we will pay now immediately. And then they ask the previous company that had the booking, are you willing to pay now? And if they are not, then we can take over the slot. So we were very lucky to find that slot at that time, because also Abbey Road, which is the other alternative, it's they have been refurbishing. So it was only one big studio in London at the time. So that was very fortunate.
Super lucky that we got that spot then. Yeah.
Yeah, and lovely recordings. I mean, Knut did a great job already. I mean, we had the original, or we could call it the demos. I'm always a little nervous when we get the music back from the orchestra. I mean, we'll keep the same energy as Knut originally had. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And having these in separate layers as well to play around with in the music, it's great.
I've been very involved in the entire project process, of course. So it's very important that you don't just give things away and let other people take over, because they don't understand necessarily the vision, no matter how good and professional they are. You need to be there and guide them and tell them what to do. And so I've been following the process very closely throughout the whole time we're working on it. So I've been very careful not to let it slip, you know, and kind of get out of control.
That's great that you can have like creative control over.
Yeah, it's very
work.
important to have that creative control throughout the process.
And the exciting thing is that players can actually listen to the soundtrack specifically if they pre-order one of the bigger pre-order editions. So you get actually a digital soundtrack, including the amazing pieces that Knut composed for us. So I'm especially excited for that. And we're also working with Sony, who helps us in digital distributing it. Maybe something else that we're working on as well. But, anyway, so
working on the names for the soundtrack now. So that's exciting.
Oh, okay, yeah, the actual tracks. And then I can come back and ask you which is your favorite track back then, when we have names for the tracks, actually. Okay, okay, Adil, how do you support? Because Dune Awakening has a main story, right? And it's quite important for the game too. And there's a lot of narrative things going on. So how do you support narrative with sound design? Like, how do you do storytelling?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, we have a lot of mouths to feed, I think, and narrative has the biggest mouth and the most important one, if I can put it that way. So, I mean, we have excellent writers, they're doing an amazing job, and they're also very good at incorporating kind of requests for audio in narrative. And we also have a lot of freedom, but audio is not just another technical layer, it's actually a narrative tool. So you can use audio to, you know, maybe convey what's racing through a character's mind, change in the moment, and you know, in a quiet scene, we can take certain elements you see and turn them into a character themselves, or we can have a lot of methods to kind of enhance and work with narrative, even silence, or same with music. We can use music the same way to kind of convey emotions. So we work tight together, and we review things a lot, and we.
Yeah, so the most important function of music in a game or in a film is to support or convey emotional content. So any chance you have to do that with the music, it's very important to do that, and to kind of make an effort to tell a story with music, and also to convey emotional content. So yeah, that's absolutely the most important part of music.
It goes into immersion too. It's very important for the immersion as well. And if I just think about a sound design now as well, it's like I recently in the latest build I played through the paint box scene, like the start of the game, the character creation part, and I noticed there's now a new sound there that is. It's not loud, but it's very high pitched in the background, and you just notice it, and it's really it almost gives me that like, ooh, dentist type of feels. It makes me like, ooh, you know, clench my buttocks. No way. It's like, oh, there's something really like, it really grates you. And I feel like that is so fantastic to do that. And I think that's really what makes good sound design too. Or like we talk about, what is it called? The brown note for horror movies, right? Which is supposedly a myth, I was told earlier. So you can't
it's
actually
in there.
make...
If people put on their subwoofers and good headphones, maybe they get a bit of those 13 hertz, but...
We don't have it in the game yet though, right? We maybe we'll have it in the game at one point.
We'll see.
So it's like, yeah, it doesn't actually do what the myth is. It makes you do the brown note, but it just creates this eerie like...
Well, this is kind of the nuclear furnace in the stomach of the sandworm in the end of it. So.
Yes, talking about the sandworm. So how did you come up with the sound for the sandworm? Because that is a very iconic thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything we do is an iterative process. It has to work for the game. Obviously, we're trying to align with the films as well. Amazing sound design in the films. The worm has its own language, but in our game, it's alive. So it's always moving around. You should be able to hear it from a distance. So we need to find a way where it actually feels good and it's not too intrusive, and that's pretty challenging. But we are developing a language for it, and it feels pretty good now. So it's raw and it's divine. I mentioned it before. It's not really a monster. It's a divine creature. It's part of Arrakis. So.
And it's not, I feel it's not just the audio either. It's like the music builds up when you actually anger the worm, right, in the game. It's similar with sandstorms too. Like after a while, understanding of what's actually going to happen, just through the music, the sounds, the audio, and that alone is like very immersive too. Like it just gets you into the flow of things, and I feel that's also very important.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, and that's why it's important to be able to use the music and to have the music adapt to what's going on. So that also why we're working in layers and parts, and then we can start the music when we need it to start.
Yeah, it does, and sometimes it doesn't. It's really cool to work on. So right now we might have moments where you will be in a battle, you'll be attacked by NPCs, and then you have players, and then the worm comes on top of this, and there's different music coming around to be working on the balance, and it's pretty challenging.
Maybe one last thing before we close off this segment, the community.
Oh.
I personally really love it. Like you were working, of course, on it actively. So can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, in the game we have something called the CommuniNet, which is kind of the platform for communication in the game. In there we have a radio, and we have a fantastic team of writers. They've been making these radio shows that represents each faction. Really fun to listen to, and we have music too, which will pay some kind of tribute to the legacy of Dune music. So. Stay tuned for that. That's all I can say.
So you can turn it on or you can turn it off. So you can listen to your faction propaganda, like Atreides propaganda or canon propaganda. There's like podcasts and things. So as you mentioned, the narrative team has been really amazing, has done really amazing work on that too. And it's really fun to listen to those actually. Plus also, as you mentioned, music. So that's going to be very exciting.
And not the least, fantastic work by my designers and the team. So
everyone involved,
sounds really
including the
now,
sounds
so.
and the music, of course. That is also part of that radio. So yes, Knut, to finish this up, is there any, or are there any specific channels that we can, Spotify, that we can follow you and find your other work?
Yes, well, I'm on Spotify. There are some things there, but much more is on its way. And I also have I've never been a social media person, but I've finally created an Instagram account, and I'm updating it, and there's going to be kind of steady updates there in the time to come. But it's kind of a new thing, but I'm there.
Awesome, that's great. I think from what I understand, we also have those links in the chat. So if you're interested, make sure to give definitely the Instagram a follow, so we can build up his community there, and also check him out on Spotify. Knut, Ariel, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm definitely both of you very busy.
Franchement, le sound design qu'ils ont fait là sur la création, sur les impacts, sur les déplacements, sur les véhicules, sur tout ce qu'ils ont mis en place, c'est juste incroyable. Après, il y a beaucoup de jeux qui le font, mais là, le son, il était... C'est une tuerie.
But before we do that, we have a short, beautiful video of Arrakis.
Ils sont incroyables les designs, non? Des maps.
Welcome back, and we are talking now about our business model for Dune Awakening and also the pre-orders that just went live a few hours ago. And here with me now to talk about this, I have Ole Andreas Haley, lead producer on Dune Awakening.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank
Ole
you.
Andreas.
Thank you.
Do you want to introduce yourself to the chat quickly?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ole Andreas Haley. I've been working at Funcom for 3.5 years, started on Dune Awakening, and I'm the lead producer, as you mentioned, so I'm producing, making sure that the teams just have the information they need and make sure that they are producing at as high velocity as they can, and making sure that the game gets shipped. That's my main purpose now.
So herding cats, basically, right?
Kinda, yeah. They're nice cats, though. Like I was watching this
Super
stream.
nice cats. Yes.
I was watching the stream, and I mean, I love this team. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I absolutely love every single person that works for Funcom. Like, we are a fantastic team as well.
Yeah.
Working really hard too. But anyway, let's talk about our business model.
Yes, let's do.
Yes, we just recently had a video from Joel, but some people here might not have seen that, so maybe it's good to just...
Yeah, I can give a small little reminder or like a recap of what was discussed there. So the business model for Dune Awakening is just as Joel said it, we're not going to be releasing early access. It's going to be a full game at launch, a full launch, and then we're doing a DLC business model or the monetization model. So we're going to be releasing DLCs, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it in the pre-orders. But then there's a season pass where you can get the first 4 DLCs included.
Correct. And also, I know there was a little bit of confusion about the wording because people were like, "Oh, you do Head Start," so you said you don't do early access and thing. But early access is basically what Steam calls games that get released and then like grow over time in terms of not being fully like what's the term, like feature complete in that sense, right? So they're like kind of bare bone when they get released, and then you basically finance the development by going into early access and selling the game that way. But the Head Start that we have basically just means you can play 5 days before the normal like orders or the normal start is for the game, basically. So.
Exactly. So yeah, it's not an early access game per se then. So I guess we can jump into some of the.
Yes, we can actually go into the pre-orders. So hopefully we'll have the image on screen relatively soon. There we go.
Ok, on parlait des différents types là d'édition.
Yeah, we can go through them. So you'll have your standard edition, which is going to be the base game as it is, and then it includes a terrarium of Muad'Dib, which is awesome. I hope we can show that.
My favorite. That's anyway. Maybe we'll see later.
Présentation des éditions là. On va...
It'll also include the Sunset Die.
C'est animé en plus le machin. Ok. T'en as vraiment un à l'intérieur du vivarium.
System in the game where you can customize stuff like your vehicles, you can customize your weapons, your armors. In terms of swatches, but also then different, I guess, swaps. What do you call it? Like it's a 3D model swap, basically.
Yeah. Oh, skin?
Yeah, skin.
A skin,
exactly.
Yes. So you have different skin.
So that's the standard edition, and then you'll have your deluxe edition, which then includes your Head Start, where you can play from 15th of May, so that's 5 days, getting access to the game 5 days before the official launch. And then you'll have the season pass, which includes the 4 DLCs that they're outlined a little bit on the Steam page, I think. So we already have some information out about them. But yeah, and then you have the Sardaukar Batar armor, basically. And then you'll have your Ultimate Edition, which includes a Caladan Palace building set. I think maybe we have some visuals for that as well.
We do.
It looks awesome. And then you have the Dune 2021 film still suit, and then the digital art book and the digital soundtrack. And then lastly, you'll have your Blue Dasher Ornithopter swatch, and then the Dusk Rider Sandbike swatch. So yeah, it's
quite a lot of stuff.
It's a lot of good stuff.
Quite a lot of stuff, yes. We can probably go into some of the assets that we can show you, like some of the things at least. My favorites.
Oh my God.
Our favorites.
It's so cute.
It's adorable. I'm just gonna like sit in my base and look at it all day.
I might not go out. I mean, the worm is out there. It's dangerous. It's gonna eat you. I can just sit inside and watch this.
It's just the most adorable thing. What I'm a little bit sad about is the fact that you don't, because it does actually different type of animations. You don't actually see the digging down into the sand right now.
So it does a few different things. It'll burrow down into the sand, as Natasha's saying, and it looks adorable. So it's an awesome thing to decorate your base with when you're base building and creating your little crib.
You also find the Muad'Dibs in the open desert, of course. Like you will find it in the world. You can theoretically kill it to get blood, which I'm still a little bit. I don't know who made the decision, but I'm still a bit bitter about that. But anyway. Yeah, that's another topic.
It's a choice, though. You don't have to.
It's a choice. That's true. It's a choice. Yes, you're very correct. Here we see one of the swatches. So obviously, armor have default colors when you first craft them or you first get them, and then you have like a specific swatch that you can then use. Like there's tons of different color swatches.
Yeah. So now you're seeing the armor with the swatch. So if you didn't apply the swatch, it would look. Have the default swatch on it, it will look a bit different. So this is it's a cool dye to put on your armors.
Also good, like for a guild, for example, to have a specific swatch so that
For sure.
they can like represent. Then we have an example of a vehicle swatch as well.
Also looks awesome.
The
I
blue
mean,
dasher.
I love our vehicles. Just
You like blue ornithopters specifically?
C'est le bleu qui
I
monte
mean,
dans
the blue one
l'Ultimate,
is
ça?
beautiful.
J'ai pas
But
vu. J'aime pas
I
du
have
tout
a
la couleur.
preference towards the Harkonnen versions, but
Je suis pas fan en tout cas.
because they look really, really cool.
It might or might be the reason that I'm going Harkonnen faction because of the ornithopter.
Oh.
Who knows? And here we see the building set, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. So yeah.
Do you know which all the different pieces that are part of this building set? Do you remember? Do you know as a?
Oh, I don't remember.
So quite a few,
off
I
the top of
think.
my
I don't
head.
remember either, unfortunately. But there's a lot of the small things. I'm not sure if it includes the actual walls. That's what I was actually just.
I don't think the walls are included. So it's the furniture that's
Right.
included here.
Yeah,
So it's
right.
all of it, like the tables and the benches and the decorations and the stuff in
Of
the back.
course, the Atreides bull scene down there, like the bullfighting scene, which
Oh, man.
will of course make sense to people who know the lore and who know the books.
And I think in the segment before, when you showcased the base building, that was that a Chome building set? And you can see here, there's like different types of building sets that you can use as well. So then you can mix and match a little bit. So you can have your Calden Palace building set in your Chome building or your Atreides style buildings. It's going to be fun building bases on Dune, I think.
Exactly. All right, and now we have.
Je suis pas convaincu par les skins,
So
franchement.
we still have our benchmark and the character creator available for free on Steam.
Ça, c'est le bouton qu'on a dans le benchmark si on le fait,
ça
fait le benchmark et la création du personnage. Il y a un autre truc.
Have a save file that you can then import.
Par contre, la dague, elle est
You can also
incroyable.
run the benchmark to see if your hardware is up to speed to run Dune Awakening and how it will run. And if you do that, you also get this unique knife skin, the frame blade, which is basically skin for the first knife, the starter knife that you get, so you can be very stylish.
It can be extra cool as you get into the game and start out the game.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
cool.
It looks really vicious. It looks really deadly. Not gonna lie, like all the rust and things. It's like it looks painful.
Yeah. Is it tetanus shot you need to get before you get stabbed with one
Good
of those?
idea. Yeah, good idea. Or rabies, something like that.
One thing to mention around the DLCs that might be a question. So there's some information on the store page. I think you can go there and look at it yourself. But yeah, there's some information about the type of stuff you can get in them.
Yes.
So cosmetics. And
So we have like first DLC is cosmetics, second is cosmetics and some side story,
yeah,
and
there's
then
a side story
like
there.
Optional, like nothing that you actually need to buy or need to have, and then more cosmetics. But yes,
But I think it's important maybe to mention, because I think I've seen this discussed as well, is that there's no selling. We're not selling power in the DLCs.
It's not pay to win.
It's
That's
not pay
very
to
important to us. Yes.
And the Dune game is structured into tiers. So you'll have tiers of enemies and weapons, but none of the DLCs will sell you something that
A higher tier,
gives you a higher
basically.
tier.
Yes. So we will always have the same tiers in another area that is not that you don't have to pay for. Like we will never sell you a higher tier in a DLC.
And I've seen that asked somewhere, so I just wanted to clarify that.
No, I think that's really great. Absolutely. So yeah, another thing that we actually were seeing here and there is like that people were a little bit afraid about Head Start and like what happens if like some of my guild members start early and I can't. Will I still be able to play on the same server, right? That's one of the things that players were a little bit concerned about. So we do actually have a little bit of an image here, and Ole Andreas can maybe elaborate a little bit on this.
Yes, we have a blog post about this topic as well, so there might be some, you can go and search it up. But basically, what you see there is the Haga Basin is where you start. There is a player cap there, but there's also a queue system, so you can, there's not like it wouldn't stop after 40 players. You can still come in later and then queue up.
Yes.
But then in addition to those Haga Basins that are instanced there, you also have the social hubs and the deep desert, which is a shared instance between the entire world. So I don't think that should be a big concern, really. I think there will be a good chance that you'll be able to play with your friends for sure.
Yes, like basically, it's not like the Haga Basin instance that your friends start playing on will be full and you won't be able to join at all. It will just be potentially be a queue if it's like super busy, right?
Yes.
And then we've also seen, of course, concerns about the deep desert and how, like, you know, people, how does that work?
Yeah, I think we've talked a little bit about that as well on the blog and in different videos. But yes, so the deep desert is a meshed 3x3 server grid. So you go there, it's the single same instance for all of the Haga basins. So when you're getting to the end game and you participate in the Lance Rad, I'm not going to go into that, but which is one of our end game systems, you might all be going to the deep desert fighting for the same reason or the same resources, the same territories, and then it's basically a gigantic map that's 9 times the size of Haga Basin, and you go there and you'll meet other people from other Haga Basins as well and fight over that, and it's the majority of it is PvP, so it's the bottom layer where you enter the map is where it's PvE, so you can go in there in safety, gear up, build your outposts and start getting ready, and then you can go out and you can have those PvP skirmishes out in the deep desert. There is some concern I think I've seen around people. Oh, what if I'm PvE player mostly? Can I still participate and go to the deep desert? We've seen this in the beta though. Like people who are PvE players actually go out in the deep desert and they still manage to lurk around and get some stuff out there.
Yes, to like tip their toes basically into PvP. So it's not that scary, like as long as you don't go like where all the big guilds just fight it out and stuff. So still, like there's still opportunities for like solo players specifically as well, but also like PvE players specifically. So and there's also what I think is very cool is that there's lots of different opportunities and things that a PvE player can actually contribute to the Lancerot. It's not just PvP.
Correct.
But
yes.
more on that later. So there's a lot of things there too. But yes, I do think we have actually covered most of the things that we wanted to cover before we go into the Q&A. So as I mentioned, we have been collecting some questions from chat. And while we're preparing those, we also get Jeff back in, so he can also answer some of these questions. That's of course also the reason that we have we want the questions to be in regards to the topics that we actually covered today, because we have guests on that can actually answer those questions really well, while we might get questions otherwise that these guests are not qualified to answer, right? They work in different departments, so that's also one of the reasons. So yeah, I think once Jeff is here, he's actually walking in right now.
Hello, Jeff.
Welcome back, Jeff.
Oh, hi.
All right.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Oh, hi. Bonjour, monsieur.
Bonjour.
Bonjour,
Bonjour.
monsieur. Canadien. Okay, yes. So we will start with some questions that we collected from chat. Just waiting for the first one to pop up. Obivana, what a cool name. Obivana asks, is voice chat available in game? You want to answer that maybe?
Yes.
Okay, spoilers.
Bon, déjà, on aura le chat vocal in-game. C'est-à-dire qu'on pourra parler avec les joueurs sur le jeu. Déjà, ça, c'est bien. Ça, c'est bien.
It'll be, so you'll have to enable it, basically. It'll be disabled by default, but you can go in and enable it if you want, yes.
All right.
Simple as that. Yes, I hope they're all easy like this.
I'm pretty sure some people are like, no, it should be enforced at all times. You know, like other games have it like a death count, like if you kill someone and it just opens up their microphone.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be
Yannick Man asked, will we have controller support on release?
Yes. I think Steam says partial controller support, but yes, the game was built with controller in mind.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things when the UI UX director got on board. That was one of the core directions that he was giving that he was given from the product. So we really want to have really good controller support. So you can pick up your game controller and play everything.
Plug and play.
Plug and play, exactly. And also because it's way easier to design for PC, mouse and keyboard than it is for controller. So doing that first and get it out of the way was actually quite a smart move, I feel like.
I sometimes prefer playing it on controller because then you get the rumble as well.
From the worm specifically, I remember that too. It actually freaked me out because I hate, I'm sorry, but I don't like...
Donc forcément, de jouer en coop ou on peut jouer en solo.
For any genre. But I had my controller connected and on the side and a worm, and it started like, and it freaked me out. It was a great moment. I was like,
nice.
really on brand too for the worm.
Exactly.
So Shadow's thoughts asks, are contracts forced co-op or can I do them solo?
Can do everything solo. Like 99.9% of the game can be done solo. We've seen people in the beta doing spice harvesting solo. Like flying the transportopter with the harvester, going out, driving the harvester, coming back, taking
it's
the thing.
definitely more work.
So it's a lot more work. Everything can be done solo, but not everything is efficient. But yes, 100%.
Yes.
Ouais, c'est-à-dire que la plus grande partie sera faisable en solo. Sans
Xpades, I hope I didn't butcher that name. If I did, I apologize. How big is Deep Desert? Is it still going to be several zones, meshes, or is population going to be smaller than we expected?
I think we answered this. So
did you?
Yeah, we did just before you came. It's well, you can do the repeats then. Go for it.
Let's see if you see
just
the same thing as us.
What he said.
I should have watched the thing when you were talking. Well, there is big. I think it's 576 square kilometers or something like this. But I don't have much more to say if you already talked about it, right? Yeah. I'm trying to look at the other question. Is population going to be smaller than we expected? I don't know. What are people expecting?
I am not really sure either.
We talked about 1,000 players or something like this. So.
I mean, we've said several hundreds, right?
Like, we said several hundreds.
Yes. And that's still the case.
Yes. And yes, it's several zones. See if there's several servers stuck together. You can cross them seamlessly. And but yeah, it's a vast open sand area with the little tidbits here and there, right? So it's big. That's really big.
It's a lot of little tidbits.
Yes.
So it's Viz LA asks, will Haga Basin be full?
Le bassin d'Aga est-il full PVP?
No. Nope.
No.
Nope.
We did touch on that a little bit when we talked about the shipwreck and the Imperial testing stations. So you will have full PvE areas where you can't be attacked whatsoever. Also important, your base in Haga Basin won't be able to be attacked.
No.
As long as it has shield up, it won't get destroyed either. Yes.
The Haga Basin is 98% PvE. The Deep Desert is
so we have the
98% PvP.
And we have the shipwrecks.
It's the flip. And we have the shipwrecks. Like just a little dip your toe if you want to, and you know.
And I guess
90% de zone PVP.
Well, the places in Haga Basin that are PvP are the shipwrecks.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for the first one.
Except for the first one, yes.
Correct, yes.
Just to ease people into things.
Also, the one we entered was actually one of the smaller ones.
Yeah, it was super tiny. Yeah, I wanted to say that. I forgot earlier, but yeah.
There you go.
We have really big shipwrecks.
Parce qu'il va y avoir des timers de decay concernant les bases comme dans Conan
Exiles. So I was
Exile.
like, let's go to this tiny one
one.
instead. Yes. And Camille did like half of it. So yeah, just.
Mixer is asking, there will be timers for bases to decay like in Conan Exiles?
Yes. So we have some decay mechanics for the bases. So as long as your base is powered, it is shielded, and as long as it's powered and shielded, you can't destroy it.
Ok, les bases qui n'ont pas de shield, ils vont
as long as you do that, that's
vite
fine.
être détruites.
And, you can fuel your base up right now in the beta for weeks and leave and then come back again.
So if you go on vacation, you can plan for that.
Yeah, you can plan for that.
I think it's 21 days or something like this.
Yes.
But yeah, and then.
But once the shield goes down, the sandstorm will start tearing at your base, etc., etc. So yes.
Ok, donc si la base n'a pas de shield et qu'il y a une tempête de sable qui passe, la base elle sera obligatoirement détruite. Donc il faut vraiment recharger les boucliers des bases en fait.
Donc
c'est un auto-decay.
And And it's also easier to abandon your base too. Like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
if you want to
absolutely.
move and because we have a set limit of how many bases you can have. So it's also we have a lot of quality of life things there.
Yes.
That also thanks to a lot of the beta testers, by the way, for their input.
Shout outs.
Shout outs to the beta players.
Absolutely. Salty Scrampy, that name too.
Salty
People have such
Scrampy.
amazing names.
Salty
Salty Scrampy from Twitch asks, can you build anywhere?
The answer is kind of yes. We have places in the game that we made sure that we have what we call no building volumes, because we don't want players to go build on like the Atreides fortress and then build a base on it, you know? We don't want players to build inside or around a trade post and on main roads to make sure that people don't block. But yes, you can build anywhere, including on the sand. Just don't do it. Just like when you place the sub thief, it's Halsman tech. It attracts the worm instantly. So you can build on the sand, but Shai Hulud is gonna num at your base.
Yeah, if you feel very spicy, you can try to build on the sand.
And
see
it happens to a lot of players. There's a lot of players in the beta
It
who
happens
built on the
to
sand.
our developers too.
Yeah.
I saw a post recently somewhere and it's like, am I
Where's my
supposed
base?
to build on Slack? Where's my base?
Where's my base now? Well, just check your log.
Mr.
Destroyed by Shai Hulud. Oh yeah, here we
Mr.
go.
Chompy got
Yeah,
it, yes.
exactly.
Dani Loabella on YouTube asks, are there wind traps like the ones in Dune 2000?
There are wind traps.
But not like in the one in Dune 2000. We have
our own wind traps.
No, but yes, but no.
Yes, but
I'm not
no.
exactly sure. Yeah, we have our own wind traps that is more in line with the movies.
Yeah.
I think they look very cool, by the way.
Yes.
I just really like how they look.
And they're really useful when you have a base.
Yes.
Oh
much
yes.
So. Very
100%.
efficient too.
Oh yes.
Yes. Football goat, like we had with the names, love it, on YouTube asks, can you attack from the ornithopter?
Yes, you can. The ornithopters can be equipped with a rocket launcher module.
You can even stand on the ornithopter.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was reading the question. I'm like,
yeah, that's
you
what
can also kind of like it's a sandbox game, so you can like Shiga Warrior Claw and stand on top of a topter with a last gun and weep.
We did that in a playtest internally.
Yes.
Alex, one of our combat.
Tu peux te faire attaquer ton optioptère, que ce soit par des ennemis au sol, des...
Everyone got a
get on the battle bus.
Avec des Gatling, tout.
I love that.
So it was basically a transport ornithopter with the 5 people on top with like las guns and
that's something Alex would do. Absolutely, 100%. Yes.
So you kind of, I guess, yes, you can attack from the ornithopter.
You can attack with the ornithopter and you can attack from the ornithopter.
Exactly.
Ok, d'accord.
100%.
Oh, one thing worth mentioning, I don't know if it's been mentioned before, but you can also attack from seated vehicles if it's open.
Yes, if it's open windows.
Yeah, also, if you sit in a buggy, you can pew-pew with your guns when the other one is...
It's the same, yes, and you also have guns equipped on the buggy too.
Yeah.
So, lots of options. Mr. Webco on Twitch asks, will there be different types of ground and flying vehicles?
Yes.
Yes, 100%. We have
tons of different
we call them
ones,
ground
different
cars,
sizes,
but yeah,
ground
we have
cars, yes.
we have the sandbike, the buggy, and the famous topter.
And of course, the harvester.
Yeah, the harvester.
C'est quoi cette question? On sait très bien depuis longtemps qu'il y a des véhicules terrestres et des véhicules volants. Poser des questions intéressantes, je sais pas.
So some of them can have passengers and some of them can't. But in addition to that, it's all modular. So you can kind of tune it to your own experience or whatever you want. So
Quoique, il y aura différents types volants et différents types terrestres, ouais. Mais les types terrestres, on les a pas tous vus. Type volant non plus.
The two-person ground vehicle as well, like you can have an extra seat for your friend, or we've shown that in videos
more
before.
Inventory.
Or you can have a more,
Camille, when he was playing earlier, he had a boost and a scanner.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things.
Yeah, you can just customize it like you want it to be. Alrighty. Ooh, that's difficult to pronounce.
Qui demande la date sur laquelle Dune sortira sur console.
Oh dear God. Skomazo? No, wait, hang on. One. That's a one at the end.
Xomaze 1. Xomaze 1.
SXOmaze 1.
Yes.
I'll do that. I apologize if I butchered your name. On Twitch asks, is there any information for when Dune comes to console?
Not right now.
Not right now.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But it is coming.
Okay.
Yes,
it is
absolutely.
coming.
Mondem007.
Demande s'il y aura des serveurs privés.
Can speak to private server.
Savoir s'ils vont mettre le...
Okay. So we are still, we know that private servers is something that the community really wants, the player really want. We know it's very important for the role-playing community specifically.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that go into decisions and technical aspects when it comes to private servers. There's how much can you mod them? Can we allow it to be modded? But then especially our server structure is somewhat complicated and it needs to be taken into consideration for that as well. So at this point, we are very aware that people want it and we are actually looking into options to potentially be able to do it. But we can't really promise or say anything specific at this point.
Non, ok. Alors pas de serveur privé. Ils veulent pas, bah c'est normal, avec le travail qu'ils ont mis dessus, on comprend tout à fait.
EcoDad75, again.
Quelles seront les fréquences des sorties des DLC?
Will the DLCs come out?
There is information about the time frame for them on Steam, I believe.
I think,
so.
yes.
It's every 3 to 4 months.
I think,
that cadence, yes. Also, I think what's important to mention here, because we mentioned Season Pass, right? In the, we mentioned Season Pass in our business model part. And it's important to mention, this is the name that Steam gives DLC bundles. So that has nothing to do with Battle Pass or anything like that. It's really just what Steam calls the bundles for the DLCs. That's why they're called Season Pass on our end as well.
Yep.
Coverture asks, what happens when you are kill someone within PvP? Do you prop everything? Are bodies fully lootable?
First you swear a little bit.
First you swear, that's the first thing that happens.
I definitely will.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe quand vous mourrez en zone PVP et que vous mourrez directement? Est-ce que vous lâchez tous vos sols ou est-ce que...
But no, it's not. Your hope is there, but no, it's not full loot PvP. In the game, you lose durability, you lose all your spice, all your CAD, the Solari, resources, and things like that.
Ouais, tu loses tout en fait,
limite. There is a thing that can happen though in the game.
There is a thing that can happen that can modify
that for 1 week. Yes.
I don't think we're going to go deeper into it.
We talk about that. We talk about that later.
By default, no full drop PvP in full drop in PvP.
Fist of the Walrus. Hey, I remember that name from
Le temps caresser le verre, non mais... Mais pourquoi il sélectionne des questions comme ça?
Can you pet the worm?
From the inside, yes.
You can tickle
the inside.
Yes, you
and
can tickle.
That's it. Well, I guess you can pet with just throwing darts with a gun, just to kind of like tickles a little bit.
Is that petting to you? Like, is that what?
I don't know. Shaylu doesn't really care about that.
Do you have pets?
No,
on peut pas le tuer le ver des sables de toute façon.
Good. We're all glad Jeff doesn't have any pets. All right, cool. Yeah. And I think this is the last question.
Maybe.
Yes. Moxer81 asks.
Quelle est la taille maximale des guildes? Ah, intéressant à savoir ça.
It's 32.
32 now. Yeah,
32
that's
now.
What's gonna be? Yeah.
Yes, because the servers are 40, and I think or something like that.
32.
You can have
it's
groups
like
of
4
groups.
groups, is it? Like yeah.
So it's 32.
So it's yeah. Also, since it didn't come up, but we can probably mention it actively.
30, 40, il a dit?
We saw,
Ou 40, 40, je crois. Je sais pas, j'ai mal compris.
Season Pass is what Steam calls the DLC bundles. We do not have a Battle Pass in Dune Awakening. No Battle Pass, no in-game monetization of any kind.
Nope. Correct.
Just so we get that out of the way.
Yes. 100%.
That was the last question.
Oh, that was easy.
That was exciting.
Dernière question.
That was our first Dune Awakening stream.
Yes.
Like,
pretty good.
Our first Dune Awakening live stream. We had a few hiccups here and there, but hey, we can learn, we can improve. I mean, if it would have been perfect, we couldn't improve anymore, so we wouldn't want that either, right? So.
No, exactly.
There's more streams coming down in the future. More opportunities to ask questions. Ole Andreas, Jeff, thank you so much for being here with us.
C'est la fin. On va pouvoir aller manger.
Everyone who joined us today, either on Twitch, on YouTube, or on stream, on Steam. I think we are live on Steam as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you very much. And yes. I think goodbye for now until we see you in the next stream.
Bye. Bon, franchement, on a vu des super trucs. Il y a pas mal de nouvelles choses qui ont été leaks. Il y a pas mal de choses intéressantes qui vont arriver. Mais il y a des trucs que j'aurais bien voulu voir que j'ai pas vu. J'ai pas vu, c'est dommage. Réellement, déjà, le gameplay au couteau, ils l'ont gravement accéléré. J'ai remarqué par rapport à ce que j'ai pu voir sur des... Pas des leaks, mais des infos qu'on a eues avec d'autres personnes qui font du jeu vidéo, qui ont été testées sur place, tout. Ils disaient que le couteau, c'était une horreur. Mais là, a priori, ils ont vraiment accéléré le rythme d'attaque. T'es plus dans l'optique à rester longtemps appuyé. Ils ont vraiment retiré cette mécanique-là. Tu t'appuies, boum, ça rentre direct à travers le shield. À voir comment ça va être intégré in-game. Réellement, je pense qu'on tient une petite pépite. Les prix sont totalement abordables. Attendez mon lien Instant Gaming. Je suis désolé pour le reflet avec la lumière là derrière. Moi, je vous souhaite à tous une bonne soirée. En conclusion, bah, il n'y a pas grand-chose à dire à part que réellement, on a vu des mécaniques de jeu qu'on a déjà vues. Il y a des choses qu'on n'avait pas vues. La verticalité des maps avec les souterrains, là, c'est incroyable. J'ai hâte de tester et d'aller marcher sur Arrakis. Et bah voilà, c'était cool. Franchement, j'ai kiffé. Merci aux gens qui étaient présents. Merci pour les gens qui se sont abonnés aussi. On a eu 3 abonnements. Merci à vous. Ça fait plaisir. Je vous souhaite à tous une bonne soirée. Et je vous dis à la prochaine. C'était Exos 93. Ciao!